Welcome, everyone. I really want to welcome you to a webinar which is sponsored by MASOC, MBHP, and the Department of Children and Families. This is being recorded, so you can listen to this also in your own pace at any time. You can listen to it multiple times going forward. So I hope this will be a resource for you as you go forward. To give you a sense that MASOC is the Massachusetts Society for a World Free of Sexual Harm by Youth. And in 2012, there was a budget amendment which was passed, and MASOC stepped up to develop the MCAAP, which is the Massachusetts Child and Adolescent Assessment Protocol. This protocol is presented at a number of national conferences and is currently being used by a number of other states as well. We hope that you'll find this a useful process. I just want to say this has been a really huge investment of time, and I specifically want to recognize a few people here, many who are speaking today, but and who has invested their time and made this, I think, the actual amazing tool that it is Kevin Creedon, Nancy Diaz, Robert Kinshriff, Ron McKenzie. I want to do a special shout out to Phil Rich, who did an incredible amount of organizing of the materials, and also a special shout out to Steve Benjis, who really was able to pull all the necessary people together to make this possible. So I want to thank everybody. I want to welcome you to this, and I'd like to turn this over to Diane Grillo from MBHP, who will speak a little bit about some of their background and how to get involved with this if you're a Massachusetts provider. So thank you, everyone, and I'll turn this over to you, Diane.
Great, thanks, Joan. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for attending today's webinar on the revised ASAP and an overview of the MCAAP, which is going into effect on July 1st. So before we begin the training on the MCAAP, it's important to understand the context of the ASAP and the reason why it's in place. The ASAP resulted from Chapter 119, Section 33B, and DCF has been using the ASAP since 1998. So not surprisingly, there's a lot that has been changed since then, or a lot has changed since then. There's been new research and understanding related to developmental psychology, neuroscience, risk and protective factors, and sexual misconduct, non-misconduct, and desistance of misconduct. So it was really necessary to improve the ASAP process. So this has included creating a new screening tool, a new referral form that provides adequate background information, and identifying best practices for risk identification and management. Next, let's look at the legislative mandate enacted in 1997. So this is a placement in a family home of a juvenile who has or who may have committed a sexual offense or arson. The mandate states that a youth must be referred for an ASAP assessment, which must be completed within 10 days by a qualified diagnostician, which we'll talk about the requirements for this a little bit later. Pending the evaluation, the child may be placed in an appropriate interim setting that's safe and secure in light of the known risks. And a safety plan is implemented by the agency placing the child, which also addresses the safety of other children in the immediate neighborhood. Next slide. In 2012, the legislative mandate was updated, and this required DCF to consult with experts. In this case, we're fortunate to have MASOC, to revise the instrument based on evidence-based practice and to create a process for keeping the instrument current with best practice standards. So it's also to ensure that all relevant staff are informed about the instrument and that they're trained on how to make referrals and then to incorporate the results into their case management and treatment planning. So there were two major changes. One is that the ratings were eliminated and instead risk management recommendations are provided. The second is that the qualified diagnosticians are not asked to recommend a type of placement, but instead to address supervision, risk management, and treatment needs. So a few other things to highlight in terms of what is changing and what's remaining the same. So other things that are changing include the referral form and the evaluation instrument, which again is now the MCAAP. There will be a link to the MCAAP on MBHP's website, and this will be kept updated there. And as I just noted, the evaluation no longer recommends level of risk or placement, and safety plans are no longer created as part of the evaluation, and instead the expectation is that recommendations are incorporated into the DCF action plan and into provider treatment plans. There are also a number of things that are remaining the same. So the diagnostician qualification requirements have not changed, and the lead agencies continue to manage referrals to the diagnosticians. The reasons why and when a child is referred are also the same. So these are youth in care and custody of DCF, and there is adjudicated, disclosed, or the youth is subject of a substantiated report of behavior. And a second evaluation may still be done for a youth with new behaviors if it's been at least 1 year since the previous evaluation. Okay. Next slide. In this next section, we'll talk about the role of MBHP in relation to the ASAP. So this includes provider contracting, authorization and reimbursement, and access and quality oversight. For those who are not aware, MBHP manages the mental health and substance use services for individuals in the PCC plan, and because the youth eligible for ASAPs are in the care and custody of DCF, they're largely managed by MBHP. So MBHP contracts with 4 lead agencies who act in an administrative function for the ASAP, and they are the KEY program, Youth Opportunities Upheld, UINC, Justice Resource Institute, or JRI, and Communities for People. MBHP individually credentials the professionals that are listed here, who meet the credentialing criteria as ASAP qualified diagnosticians. So they may provide this service in an individual or group practice or in a clinic or facility. Next slide. And similarly, MBHP also credentials master's level clinician to meet MBHP's credentialing criteria as ASAP qualified diagnosticians in a contracted clinic or facility. So in addition to the general performance specifications, there are additional requirements for ASAP providers, given that it is such a specialized service. Providers assessing fire setting behavior must have knowledge of DCF, the population it serves, their levels of care. Also, they must have 120 hours of juvenile fire setter specific assessment experience within the past 7 years. And then in addition to that, 45 hours per year of juvenile fire setter specific training is required also within the past 7 years. And then all providers, of course, must also complete training on the MCAAP. So similar to fire setting, providers assessing sexual offending behaviors must also meet some additional criteria. So similar to what I just discussed, providers must have knowledge of DCF, the population it serves, its levels of care, and they also must have 75 hours of juvenile sexual offender specific assessment and training experience within the past 7 years. And 25 of these 75 hours must be in juvenile sexual offender specific assessment. And again, completion of the MCAAP training is required. So next I'll talk about the process for authorization and reimbursement for the ASAP. Because there's a lead agency model, all of the transactions occur through the lead agency. So what happens is DCF sends the ASAP referral to the lead agency, who contacts the diagnostician to conduct the assessment. And the lead agency gets authorization for the ASAP using MBHP's Provider Connect platform, which is shown here on the slide. After the ASAP is completed, the lead agency submits a claim to MBHP, who reimburses the lead agency, and then the lead agency reimburses the diagnostician. MBHP is responsible for ensuring that there's an adequate network of providers to deliver all services, and this includes the ASAP. So we have 5 regional offices across the Commonwealth, and each office has staff that have relationships with all the providers in these respective regions. So along with these staff, there's a quality department that handles any issues that come up, either internally or externally. And we also have a 24/7 access line, which can assist callers in locating services and accessing care. So finally, for anyone who's interested in contracting with MBHP to conduct ASAP assessments, please email our network operations department, and the email address is listed here, and someone will be able to assist you.